Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the pilot episode. We have a full crew tonight. We are back with the original Guy Zone group here. Well, I guess not original. Perk was kind of a mixed in. He has became an original. We do have Calvert back. That's what I'm hinting at here. Love him or hate him, he brings a lot to the show. I'm more of a fan of his. Drew more hates him, but y'all can make y'all's own opinions. With that being said, we are kicking off a new series tonight, and I will pass it to Drew.
Yeah, so this is a new series we're going to start. It's going to come out every Thursday. Fallout releases their episodes every Wednesday. So this is going to be about the whole Fallout series. We brought Calvert in because he has some insight into the video game that none of us really have. But before we dive into this particular episode and this TV show in general, I want to say thank you for all the new subscribers we've gotten in the past few days. We really appreciate it. Like we always say, we do this for y'all. We enjoy it, but we do it for y'all. So if you're not subscribed, take a second, hit the little button at the bottom, like the video, subscribe to the channel. But yeah, without further ado, Calvert, what is the video game perspective that some of us may have missed in season 1 before we get into this season 2 stuff, and maybe some of the things that we don't per se know because we don't watch we didn't play the video game?
Well, I'll just start out by saying it like this: like what I think is incredible about the series itself, and this does tie into that, is the fact that people who nerded out on the game love this series because every single frame they absolutely nailed it. And I can't express to anybody out there that's listening knows this, the amount of stuff that ties into the game. Every single frame, there are Easter egg phrases every 5 seconds. There are everything that they use, like when you see it, like you know the story, where it came from, and all of that stuff. What makes this great is, sorry guys, what makes this great is they did a good enough job with it where it's just a masterpiece so that people who didn't play the game can be introduced into the drama and the craziness and of the Wasteland, and it immerses you in it. Like when you're watching Fallout, you feel like you're stuck in it. So just a little rundown of, like, for the people that are just watching the series and wonder why things look the way they look. The reason why things look the way they look is somewhere in the 1960s, the Fallout universe, the Fallout timeline diverges from our timeline. So this thing was created in mind of what people thought the world was going to look like after the atom bomb dropped in World War II, going into the 1950s and the Cold War era. And so that's why you have a retro futuristic looking world where nuclear energy got crazy. You still hear the old singers when you hear the radio playing. You see the old cars, but they're futuristic as well. So this comes from a place of where people thought how the world might turn out. So just from playing the game, how people could. I think your question was, what's some insight that people who haven't played the games can know about?
Yeah, maybe something that like we're missing from season 1, like some of the big things. Like I know.
Don't give us any fillers ahead.
Yeah, but like talking prior to, I know you said there was a big deal. You knew what was kind of coming at the end of season 1.
Yeah,
or we all knew.
Yeah, so people that played the game automatically where this takes place at. So the United States at that era where time split off, they changed the United States into the 13 Commonwealths. So they split it up into like 13 regions, and I think their idea might have been against capitalism, like to stop I'm not really sure. But so knowing where this game takes place at, which is in LA, right? I believe it takes place around around LA, which is very significant. So knowing where it takes place at, and then seeing the final scene of season 1, where you see the tower to New Vegas. Sorry, I said, so Las Vegas, you see the tower to New Vegas, you kind of know what's coming, because in Fallout New Vegas, while you had several endings, because it's an RPG, a role-playing game, so there were several endings. But am I allowed to talk about the first episode of season 2?
Yeah, because we're fixing to get into that. We've all watched.
Yeah, we're going to get into that.
Okay. So, and I'll say this, and then I'll shut up, and we can roll on. So when everyone at the end of season 1 sees the tower in the distance, and see, the series taught us, because this wasn't necessarily taught to us in the games, that Vault Tech dropped the bombs that, see, everyone was told. So all throughout the games, you think that China, while they invaded, so the U.S. took over Mexico, annexed Canada, and then had to fight China off of the Alaskan front. And so everyone thought that China invaded. And what you're learning is through the eyes of Howard, who's the goal now. You're learning because he was an employee, and his wife, he was an employee, I think, of Robco.
He was in Longtech technically due to he was doing commercials and stuff for him.
That's right, because he was a famous or whatever. So anyway, learning through his wife, it reveals to us it's building more canon. So it is canon. It's a timeline. So this actually happens, obviously in 2077, the day the drop, or 20, I think it's 2077, the day the bombs drop, and then we're actually going further into the future than any of the games did. So what you see in that final scene when you see that tower is that what's coming. And then the opening episode of season 2, it's all about Robert House. So Robert House is a big deal in Fallout New Vegas because he's this, and it's telling you the story. He's a super powerful guy. He's the owner of Robco, which is named after him. And so for the people that watched, and I know you guys said that maybe it was like a little slow, but for the people that played the game, like, it's just amazing. They nailed it. They could have went to any antique thrift store and got 1950s clothes or whatever, but they went in just insane detail. Absolutely.
Yeah. I kind of figured that there was a lot of stuff that maybe we didn't get to experience from like the full experience of the show because we had never played the game. Very similar to, like, I'm a big fan of Last of Us.
That's why you're taking my points because I'm the newest person to this show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I just jumped into this 2 days ago, Calvert. I did love hearing the game side of it, but this is like The Witcher, The Last of Us, and the Hunger Games with the colonies had a baby, and we got a series out. That's what I gathered from binge watching it. That's really what I took. I say The Witcher. I know it's not medieval times, but the potions and the creatures are very Witcher-like. And then you have the modern stuff with the colonies and being ahead of the time. So for somebody new, it's two very different perspectives, which is, I'm glad I got to hear what you had to say about it.
And just for the people that are just watching the show, if you're wondering why it's so gory, if you're wondering why the people in the Wasteland have the attitude they have and how they just seem to be like they don't care about nothing but survival, it all ties back to the culture of the pre-war and how people were and what they thought about communism, all this stuff. You just need to realize that the Wasteland is meant to be sadistic, it's meant to be insane, and it's also meant to be kind of humorous. And so
hearing your side of that gives me a little Mad Max as far as the gory and the Wasteland.
Absolutely.
So we're piggybacking off like 4 things all into one that were really successful, which would give you a pretty damn good TV show.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Yeah. Did any of y'all want to kind of say anything about season 1 before we kind of break down episode 1 of season 2?
I know Perk's pretty good on the notes and the breakdowns.
So for me, it wasn't necessarily a season 1 thing. I wanted to bring up that I did give Fallout New Vegas a shot a year and a half ago or whenever the show originally came out because Trey taught me into playing it. I played it for about an hour and a half. I left where you spawn at, ran into Deathclaws, I think.
You took a left?
Yeah.
Oh no, you don't take a left.
I couldn't figure out how to operate, so I was just like, okay, I'm done. I just kept getting destroyed by these like huge scorpion looking things. And
yeah, that's a trap on purpose. You're supposed to take a right. They do that to you on purpose.
Yeah, I just kept going, and it kept not working.
I'd break the controller in half. That's why I don't have my game anymore. But
boy, Luke would have had to buy 3 TVs that week.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't
go ahead.
cut Perk off there. I didn't know if Perk was finished.
No, the only other thing I had to say was I kind of like that they opened the episode with a recap of season 1, seeing as it's been quite a while since the first season came out. Granted, it might have been annoying for Neil because he just watched all the stuff, but the whole first season, which we talked about with Neil, it kind of started slow, similarly to how this episode is starting kind of slow. But it picks up in a massive way, and I feel like we're already building toward that based off of what happens at the end of this episode.
Yeah, I do want to say, like, season 2 starting slow, I'm very okay with.
Mm-hmm.
I did talk to both of y'all and say my first 2 episodes into season 1, I was like, I can't watch this shit.
Mm-hmm.
I flat out said that.
Yeah.
I made it through 3 and 4, and my opinion flipped 180. And all of a sudden, I was hook, line, and sinker. This shit is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It's very, very good.
Yeah.
So,
and I told you were about to get into the good stuff.
yeah, and you were 100% head on the nail. But give it some time for those of you that haven't watched any of it, because you will enjoy. I'm not even into this kind of sci-fi shit. I'm really not.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a really good show.
Yeah. Season 2, we just kind of start off, like you said, it's kind of a slow thing. They're setting the stage for a lot of different things. The Ghoul and Lucy are teamed up now. They're going to hunt down Lucy's father. I don't really know what Lucy has in mind when she finds her dad. I'm not certain on that.
She said she wants to bring him to justice, but what is justice in this world?
Yes. So I don't know what her plans are.
Mm-hmm.
Norm is caught in Vault 31, correct?
31.
Yeah.
So Norm's caught in 31 with the little robot with the brain, and the way the episode ends, it's going to get crazy for Norm in there. I feel like.
Yes.
He hits the button, unleashes everyone that's in the cryogenic chambers or whatever, and so I feel like that's going to be pretty intriguing whenever episode 2 comes out.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've already had one button release turn into a shitstorm of fuck earlier in season 1.
Yes.
And that's really when the show started ramping up to being, oh shit, this is pretty good.
Yeah. One thing I wrote down in my notes, talking about Lucy and the Ghoul, was how she's always been this innocent kind of character and stuff that has her morals still, even though she's in a wasteland. I wrote down how she aims to hurt people versus killing them, and then she lets the Ghoul kill them because she doesn't want to be a murderer, as she said. And then she sees that her dad is just murdering people like with just recklessly, and that's like fueling her keeping to go and get him, because that's not who raised her in her mind.
Yeah, and the Ghoul asked, like, when they find her dad, what's she gonna do? Shoot him in the ass?
Yeah, well, also, like, Perk bringing up her morally and how she views things is a really great point. She made Maximus return, the power to his suit, earlier on in season 1.
Mm-hmm.
But also, like, she kind of confuses me because, like, she does stuff like that, but she'll also walk into a room and ask him if he wants to fuck just in broad daylight. And so she's kind of a wild card.
Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody needs to teach her how to propose that question, because you don't just walk in there fully clothed and bloodied up and sweaty and like, hey, you want a piece of this thing? So this show has some dark comedy if you pay attention on these small quotes and like sexual, jabs that are like, they're belly laugh funny if you catch it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like whenever you, so one thing is too, like if you realize, so they really intended, when I heard them talking about it, for this series to kind of be like Fallout 5, is what they kind of intended. So you're actually watching, a movie or a TV show of what could have happened in the game. And something that always happened in Fallout games is good and bad karma. So if you did good karma, it increased your karma. If you did the bad things for your own good, it gave you negative karma. And she's trending to be, and you always had a companion, and you could have one partner, and you could sometimes have a dog as a sidekick. So yeah, like what she really learned about her dad that tripped it off is that he blew away. I think it was Sandy Shores.
Sandy Shore.
Yeah, so he blew that away. That is a reference back to Fallout 2, like 20 years ago. That was the main place that you were at in Fallout 2. And here's what the kicker on season. So for the people that played the game, when you watch the opening episode of season 2, she starts out in a giant dinosaur. And so this is where people who didn't watch it think that it's starting out slow. But she's in a giant dinosaur with a rifle. So whenever you walk up, that town is called Novak. And whenever you walk up on that town in Fallout New Vegas, there is a guy in that dinosaur with a rifle pointed at your face. And he basically is like, what are your intentions? That guy's name is Boone. And Boone ends up being your companion that goes with you. So when she's in that dinosaur with a rifle, everybody's just like, yes. So this actually takes place 15 years after that in the series. So 15 years before, that town named Novak had people in it. And when you hear the ghoul with the rope around his neck, and he says, and he's talking to the Raiders, and he's like, I used to know the lady. He named the lady.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when I tell you, like, every single reference is it's done so great. It's done so good. But something you should know about, like, the Fallout people, like you were talking about, Neil, how you didn't understand, like, her morals. Like, so Fallout vault dwellers are very they are very brainwashed, sheltered, very naive. They're very naive to what the world's going to be.
I would say cult-like is how I would take it.
The leaders probably, but the people in it, they are very hopeful. They have been told for hundreds of years in these vaults that one day they're going to go to the surface and they're going to save the world, not knowing that the company that built the vaults is the one that bombed them into oblivion simply for power or whatever. So vault dwellers are very naive. Raiders are insane, hateful people. You run into the Brotherhood of Steel, which we've seen in season 1. That is the remnants of the U.S. military. And we've yet to see what I think we're going to see, which is called the Enclave, which is the remnants of the U.S. government. And not good people, but they're bad end people. So anyway, I was just pointing out some insights. So for, like, I understand, like, it might look slow, but to the people that, like, played the games, when I seen that dinosaur, I was like, let's freaking go. They're in Novak, dude. I'm wondering who's going to show up. And let me say one more thing, and then I'll move on. Just the fact that you look out and you see New Vegas and it looks like it's been bombed to heck and back makes you wonder what's happened. And since your decisions determined if Robert House in New Vegas, you determine if you kill Robert House, if you side with Robert House, if you side with Yes Man, if you side with Benny, if you side with the two other factions in the area or the Brotherhood of Steel. So as this story progresses, it is actually going to rewrite what the actual canon to New Vegas is. Mm-hmm. So there were like 5 different outcomes. It's probably going to tell us which outcome becomes canon. Mm-hmm. So anyway, it's just, I'm jitty over here, dude. I love it.
When you say canon, what do you mean?
Canon means
the studio wants to be the actual thing,
reality
in storyline.
Yeah. So something that everybody out there should know about Fallout. Some people will probably throw rocks at me and say this whole thing isn't canon. Well, I've looked at the tweets from the producers. There have been multiple Fallout games that have been deemed uncanon. There have been Fallout comics that have been deemed uncanon, and it really is just up to whoever is over it at the time. Which right now it's Bethesda. And this is canon that lines up with it. New Vegas was actually made by Obsidian. And whenever people asked the guy who made New Vegas, they were like, what's canon? He was like, I'm not determining what's canon. If Bethesda wanted me to determine what's canon, they would have told me what to do in the game. Whatever you did was the right choice. But it's just very cool that we're going to find out 15 years post New Vegas what happened to New Vegas. Because in this series, it looks a lot worse off than it was before. Mm-hmm. Because New Vegas was where Robert House was, and he used his military defense systems to shoot down most of the nukes that were headed to New Vegas, and that's why it was the only standing city at the end of
it. Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, background knowledge. That's pretty. I like getting your perspective because I have no idea what happened in the game.
Right. So I actually wish I would have called him before I started the show. I don't think I would have had the tough time in the beginning I did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. If you had anybody out there who wants to get into this, hadn't watched it yet, simply just go to YouTube and just look up Fallout lore and just watch a 20-minute, there's 5-hour, there's 9-hour breakdowns of the lore in Fallout. because there's so much. Just skim through that so you know what universe this is, the vibe, the theme, all those things, and it will make it so much better. Every little drug they're doing, the stim packs, the name of the dog, the phrases they're saying. When they say war never changes, all those phrases are all pulled from the games.
Yeah.
I will say it's really cool that they did get that close to it, though.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. It's actually mind-boggling, incredible.
What you got?
Calvert, do you think, you brought up how they intended it to be a Fallout 5 type of thing? Do you see it as Lucy being in storyline, basically the character that is central would be the character that you played if it was a video game?
Lucy would be who you are. If anybody out there played Fallout 3, you wake up in a baby crib in Fallout 3, you grow up in a vault to be a teenager, they tell you your dad left, and in reality, it's all a lie. You're in vault, I believe, 111. It's all a lie. You leave out into the wasteland, I believe, in Boston, in the Commonwealth, and the whole story is about you finding your father. And then when you get to where you're finding your father, so many other things unravel. In Fallout 4, you think that your son's been kidnapped.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to fight the Institute. That makes sense. Synthetic people. At the end of it, you find out that you actually were cryo-chambered for 60 years longer than you thought. And your son, I don't want to ruin it for anybody that hadn't played it. But basically, here's how Fallout works. You're always going to find freaks in the wasteland and crazy random strangers in events. Anytime you see them traveling, there's going to be a crazy encounter. But when you get to the end of it, what you thought would happen, and that's why she's having questions about what she's going to do with her dad. When you get to the end of it, there's always a twist in the story that leaves you completely conflicted with what to do. You think you know who the bad guy is the whole time. You think you know who the good guys are. You think you know all the edges. When you get to the end of this game or this series, she will be conflicted and she will have to pick a side, and the side that she picks will start a war or resolve a conflict.
Yeah. All right. So what were either your favorite or something you did not like about the episode? Is there anything you loved about this particular episode or anything you hated about this particular episode?
I'll go first here. Just as a show, you said episode, right? We're on season 2.
Yeah. Season 2, episode 1.
All right. My only knock on the show, y'all can look me up on this. Going into season 2, though, we only have 3 or 4 characters that have been in every episode so far.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of them are like 5 or 6 episodes here and there. Very spotty. We have our 3 mainstays in Maximus, the ghoul,
Yeah, Lucy.
and then Lucy.
Don't forget Dominic.
I always.
That's
Who'd you say?
Don't forget the German Shepherd.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, yes and no. But the ghoul's real name is what I always try to say. But
Howard.
I guess he is the ghoul now. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But outside of those mainstays, we shift around so much to past and present.
Mm-hmm.
If like listening to Calvert, I feel completely different about the entire show, but not knowing the video game side of it, that can kind of piss you off.
Mm-hmm.
Because like you want to see what happened with so-and-so or so-and-so in this story. And like, we may go 4 episodes without knowing.
Yeah.
That would be my only real complaint. That's not even a real complaint after hearing what he had to say. I kind of get it a lot more now. But that would be my only negative.
I had the same one.
Yeah.
I wanted to see more Maximus. That was really the only complaint that I had for the most part. Because I loved that particular storyline.
Mm-hmm. That was my exact one. Was we didn't see any Maximus outside of the recap. Like we didn't see any new Maximus. So he's like one of my favorite characters on the show. Of course, the Ghoul's my favorite character, but it's because it's Walton Goggins and he takes over any show that he's on. I will say there was a little bit of weird stuff with the Ghoul on this episode. I don't know if y'all caught it. His I looked it up. They're masking his nose off differently than they did in the first season, and you can see it sometimes being a little weird.
I seen that too. It had like a little angle at the corner when he turned
Yeah,
sideways.
I did
one
catch
time,
that, Bert. I thought it was my stream, to be honest. I didn't know it was the actual show.
Mm-hmm.
Calvert, do you have any things you loved or hated?
Man, I absolutely loved that they were in Novak and that we seen the dinosaur. I absolutely loved. I'll say this. One of the things that I really liked is that when he had a flashback to when he was back in that city and everybody was saying, he was yelling, "It's a test."
Yeah.
There was actually like this simulation, if I'm not mistaken, in one of the games where you were almost in an identical city and it was a test like that.
I seen this. They made the dude that he looks at, who's walking up, who gets out of the Vault Tech truck, walking.
Yes, sir.
They made him look just like the guy in the game.
Yeah, and that's what's incredible because in Fallout, and that guy's always there. He's the guy that goes around and he's picking out the, skilled people that would be valuable to a society, which is all a facade. And so that was going to rebuild. It's a facade. So in Fallout 4, you get a knock on your door. You're just there with your wife, and or if you're the woman, you're there with your husband, and the baby's in the crib crying, which ends up being, what I told you earlier with the Institute. And that guy knocks on the door and he's asking you questions. And it's right after that, alarm goes off. Y'all run up to the hill. You see a massive nuke blow up in the distance. All these people are screaming they want in. They can't get in. Even the guards that are holding the people off die. Nuclear warhead blast goes over your head as you're going in the ground. But yeah, so that was probably my favorite. Something I didn't like. Yeah, I don't have anything. I don't have anything.
Froze there for a second.
It's a masterpiece.
He didn't freeze. He don't have anything you don't like.
I was thinking.
All right. Well, does anybody got anything else?
I think we pretty much covered it, man. It is a great video game series. This has been done a lot. I will say that, especially as somebody that didn't play the game and is not a fan of this kind of thing, it's been done a lot. Based off what I've heard Calvert say and how the TV show is, pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
They put a lot. I feel like they put a lot of money in this. I don't know their budget, but they have went into utter extreme.
Definitely.
I'll say, since I didn't have nothing negative to say, I will say this, and then I think the only thing I've seen so far that I could even knock on, one time when the T-60 power armor goes in there, and Maximus, since y'all love him so much, he's trying to figure out how to drive it, like in that situation, and it slams him against the wall. I think as far as the quality of the show, it's been a 9 or a 10 out of 10. And that moment, you could see the CGI being a little funky, So if it was a knock, I could be like, but I think they're doing great.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you want me to give like a little foreshadowing insight, kind of like what us people
No,
kind of like?
Do not tell me anything.
You don't want to hear like some insight of what we're wondering might happen. What
No.
might become.
I mean, like if you're wondering what might happen, don't spoil anything for us.
He's already played the game. His shit is going to tell us what's happening.
No. Mine won't. So actually, like I was saying before, this timeline is unfolding before my eyes. This would be like us playing the next game, is what this series is.
Mm-hmm.
It would be like us playing the next game. But you know what? I won't do it. But I'll just say this for the folks out there that don't have time to go play outdated looking video games and things like that. My biggest recommendation: go watch a YouTube video on the lore, and then continue the show, and you'll be glad you did.
Yeah, I will say, did you guys, I'm glad I looked at the Reddit before I watched the episode. Apparently they tacked on like a trailer for the whole season at the end of the episode. Mm-hmm. Did any of y'all watch that?
Yes, I did.
Apparently it kind of ruined a lot of the things that are going to happen in the season in a way. So I'm glad you didn't catch it because apparently it had a bunch of stuff that happened that were kind of like told you stuff that was going to happen that trailers always screw up and tell you too much.
Well, and I'll say this for the gamers, though, it answered some questions, Perk, because you had a bad experience and you found this out. If they would have walked from Novak up to New Vegas in the game, what happened to you in the game should have happened to them. So for all of us that were sitting there that didn't see any cascades, didn't see any bloat flies, didn't see any death claws, and we're like, they just get to waltz through. When I was 12, I got wrecked for an hour trying to go that way. It answered some questions when it showed a death claw ripping a door off its frame. And so I was like, yes, okay, thank God. They're actually going to, step out on a limb and try to make this monster look good in this show. So it answered a few questions for me, honestly.
Well, good deal. Well, that's going to do it. We appreciate you watching. Like I said, if you don't mind, take a second, hit the subscribe button, like it. And as always, tell Grandma the pilot episode's done dropped another podcast episode. Well, make sure you like, share, subscribe, and we will see y'all Friday for the Braveheart breakdown and rating. Calvert, we really appreciate you helping us with this. Your insight was phenomenal. I'm sure all the people at home are going to love it as well. And so, Calvert, you'll be back next week, correct?
For what? For the next show?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, heck yeah, dude! I'd love to come back. And
I
since
think you're
got
doing this
first
series.
Oh, that'd be great, dude. Well, since I got this first episode out of the way, next time I don't have to be a know-it-all, talk so much, and if you guys watch more
I didn't feel
videos,
that way
y'all
at
be
all.
right on par with me. Yeah.
No, like a lot of the shit you said, I needed to hear. So like I enjoyed the shit out of it. So
Good deal.
It was an honor.
We'll see y'all next week. Neil, what you got?
we'll see.